5 acres, 6 acres, 7 acres in Georgia right now. And every single one of them comes with a house and a price under $150,000. That is what this video is. 7 Georgia properties where the land is the real story, not a quarter-acre lot in a subdivision. Real acreage, room for a garden, a barn, animals, a workshop, or just distance from your nearest neighbor. And you can still buy every one of these today. Here's the honest part, because this is not one of those channels that shows you a photo and moves on. Most of these houses need work. Some need a lot of work. A few of them, the land is worth more than the house sitting on it. I am going to tell you which is which, what the acreage is actually worth, what the house needs, and who each one of these makes sense for. Because cheap land with a rough house is either the smartest money you will ever spend or a hole you pour cash into. And the difference is knowing before you buy. We are counting up to the one with the most house in the most history on the most land. Property number 7 first. We start in Baconton, deep in South Georgia, Mitchell County. 5 fenced acres, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,900 square feet, metal roof, a fireplace, well and septic, mature plantings, woods, and open grass. $114,900. Here's the catch, and it is the one you have to understand going in. This is a single-wide manufactured home with additions built onto it. That is not automatically a problem. It has a metal roof, central heat and air, a tankless water heater, and it comes with the appliances. But a manufactured home with additions raises specific questions, and you ask every one of them before you sign. Is the title retired? Is it on a permanent foundation? Were the additions permitted? Because if the answers are wrong, you are paying cash, since a lot of lenders will not touch it. The listing itself leans toward cash for a reason. So who is this for? This is a land buy with a livable house on it. 5 fenced acres in Mitchell County for under $115,000, with a house you can actually move into while you build whatever you are building. If you have the cash and you want land now, this one works. Just go in with your eyes open on the manufactured home questions. Franklin, Georgia, Heard County.
And this one I want to be completely straight with you about, because the numbers tell a specific story. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 836 square feet on 5¼ acres, $150,000. Do the math on the house alone, and it is the most expensive building per square foot on this entire list by a wide margin. So you are not buying this for the house, you are buying it for the land, and the house is a place to live while you own that land. 5 level, private acres in Heard County, well and septic already in place, a small but livable home on it. Here's why that can still make sense. Heard County is technically part of the Atlanta metro area. Franklin sits on the Chattahoochee River. This is not the far edge of nowhere. It is quiet, rural West Georgia, but it is within reach of the Atlanta job market if you are willing to drive. For someone who wants a small, low-maintenance house and 5 private acres near a river within striking distance of a major metro, this is a land play with a roof already on it. Know that going in, and it is a fair deal. Expect a big house for $150 grand, and you will be disappointed. 2 properties in, and you can already see the pattern. At this price in Georgia, the land is the asset, and the house is the variable. Some of these houses are worth real money, some are worth almost nothing, and you are buying dirt. The next 3 are where the houses start to earn their keep, and the one at the very end is the most house, the most land, and the most story of anything on this list. Baconton, Georgia, Carroll County, they call it the Friendly City. 6 private, level, grassed acres, 3 bedrooms, 1,500 square feet, a fireplace, a metal roof, well and septic, $140,000. This one is a solid house on genuine acreage, and the ratio finally tips in your favor. 1,500 square feet is a genuine 3-bedroom family home, not a cabin. The house is a fixer, sold as is, so you were budgeting for updates, but the bones are a normal 1989 ranch, which is a much simpler renovation conversation than a 1940 farmhouse or a manufactured home. You're looking at cosmetics and systems, not structural mysteries. One thing to flag, This house went under contract back in January and came back on the market in March. A deal that fell through is not always a red flag, but it is a question.
Sometimes financing falls apart. Sometimes an inspection turns something up. You find out which before you commit. The taxes here are also higher than most of this list, about $2,400 a year, so factor that into your carry. Who is this for? A family that wants space and land in West Georgia and is willing to do a cosmetic to moderate rehab. Bowdoin is close to Carrollton and within commuting reach of the Atlanta job market. 6 acres and a real house for $140,000, with the work being manageable rather than terrifying. That is a legitimate homestead starter. Now, we go to the mountains. Summerville, Georgia. Chattooga County, up in the northwest corner of the state, at the base of Taylor Ridge. This is a genuine 1940 farmhouse. 3 bedrooms, 1,600 square feet, and upstairs flex space on about 6 acres with half of it wooded. A storage shed and an open lean-to already on the property. $149,000. This is the homestead picture a lot of people have in their heads. An old farmhouse, fiber cement siding, a block foundation, land that is half open and half woods up in the North Georgia hills. Summerville was actually founded as a summer resort town, which tells you something about the setting. It is a beautiful part of the state. Now, the reality. It is a fixer, explicitly. It needs updating and repairs, and the listing points you toward cash. When a 1940 farmhouse is cash only, that usually means the condition will not pass the appraisal a normal loan requires. So this is for a buyer with cash or a renovation loan and the stomach for a real project. The upside is that a restored 1940 farmhouse on 6 acres in the North Georgia mountains is a genuinely special property, and you are getting in at $149,000. The downside is everything between here and restored costs money. One note, this one only has 3 photos on the listing. That is usually a sign the seller is not showing you much. See it in person before you fall in love. Martin, Georgia. Up in the northeast corner, Stevens County, near Lake Hartwell in the town of Toccola. This is the oldest property on the list by a long way, built around 1915, over 110 years old. 1 bedroom, 1 bath on the records, 1,100 square feet on 5 acres of open land and mature hardwoods with several outbuildings, $135,000. I am going to be honest about what this is. This is a restoration play, or a land play, depending on how you look at it.
A 1915 house that has not been meaningfully updated is a full systems conversation. Electrical, plumbing, foundation, roof, all of it. And this one is being sold as is, where is, subject to probate approval, which means the sale can move slowly, and the estate is not fixing anything. The mechanical details on the listing are basically blank, but here is the appeal, and it is real. 5 acres with mature hardwoods and multiple outbuildings near Lake Hartwell, one of the best recreation lakes in the southeast. For someone who wants to restore a genuinely old Georgia farmhouse, or who just wants 5 wooded acres near the lake with structures already on it, this is a characterful piece of land. This is not a rental play, and it is not a quick flip. This is a passion project or a patient land hold. Know which one you are before you make the offer. Now, the 2 best all-around properties on the list. Property 2 is in Sandersville, and it is the cleanest, most move-in ready deal here. 7 acres, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,400 square feet, built 1945. Central heat and air, hardwood and vinyl floors, public water and sewer, natural gas, and high-speed internet available. And it is currently being rented, which tells you it is livable right now, $150,000. Here is why this one is special. Almost 7 acres, and it sits inside the city limits of Sandersville. That is rare. You get real acreage and you still have city utilities, and you are walking distance to the downtown square. And Sandersville is not a dying town. It is the kaolin capital of the world. Washington County produces a huge share of the planet's kaolin clay, an industry worth around $1 billion, and it has anchored this community for generations. It is also the first county in the entire country named for George Washington before he was even president. There is deep history and a working economy here. Because it is currently a rental, do your homework on the tenant situation. Get the lease, the payment history, the deposit records, and confirm the rental use is proper before you close. But of everything on this list, this is the one you could arguably move into or keep renting on day one, with 7 acres in a real town for $150,000. That is a strong number. And here it is, the most house on flat, usable land with the most homestead character of anything on this list. Edison, Georgia, deep in Calhoun County, South Georgia. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,500 square feet. Built 1940. 2 living areas, a 2-car garage,
And several old shops and barns already standing on 5 1/4 flat acres. $150,000 after an $84,000 price cut. Sit with that for a second. 2,500 square feet is a big house. Most of this list has been under 1,600. This is a 4-bedroom farmhouse with 2 living areas, hardwood floors that were reportedly found underneath the carpet, and outbuildings that, on a homestead, carry serious value. Barns and shops that you would pay tens of thousands to build new are already here. This is the full picture: house, land, and infrastructure. Now the honest parts, because there is always one. This is sold as is. It needs work, and the sale is subject to HUD approval, with the seller not paying closing costs. That HUD approval language makes the transaction more complicated than a normal sale, and it can affect financing. So you go in with a full inspection on the roof, the structure, the electrical, the plumbing, the septic and well, and those old outbuildings. Budget for a real renovation. But the $84,000 price cut tells you the seller is serious, and the raw material here is the best on the list. A 2,500 square foot farmhouse with barns on 5 flat acres, restored, is a genuine Georgia homestead. At $150,000 is the entry point. With the work ahead of you, this is the one with the highest ceiling of anything we looked at. 7 Georgia properties, every one of them with real acreage, every one under $150,000, and every one of them a different answer to the same question, which is what you actually want out of land. Here is the thing to take away from this. At this price, in Georgia, you are almost always buying the land first and the house second. Sandersville and Edison give you a real house and real land together. Bowdoin and Somerville give you a solid house in a real project. Martin and Franklin, you are buying the acreage and the house comes along for the ride. Baconton, you are buying 5 fenced acres with a livable manufactured home on it. None of them are wrong, they're just different buyers. So tell me in the comments, if someone handed you $150,000 and said buy one, do you take the clean 7-acre place in Sandersville that you could live in tomorrow, or the big 2,500 square foot farmhouse with the barns in Edison that needs work but has the most upside? There is no wrong answer, there's just your answer. Pick one and tell me why. Subscribe if you're not already. We find the land other channels never bother to look for.